when men find out that a woman who they're with has had an affair, their first question is, did you sleep with him? When women find out a man had an affair, their first question is, are you in love with her? And I think that tells you a lot about men and women's relationships, because there's a sense of, okay, what was this? Was this sex? Or was this like, I don't love you anymore, I don't want you in my life anymore? Because those are two really different things. And so a fidelity clause is a one-size-fits-all concept that just says, okay, we're going to define cheating, and then there's going to be a penalty for you doing it. Now, again, in what I've observed in life, cheating is its own penalty. Cheating turns your life, at best, cheating turns your life into like an unbelievably complicated, like jumping from one foot to another, lying to everyone involved. Like rarely does anybody get out of infidelity without hurting themselves and a bunch of other people. Like whether it's not only their partner, but even the person who they cheated with, or that person's partner. Like there's so much pain to go around when cheating happens. And so to say, and there's going to be an economic penalty, it's a bit like, using drugs is illegal in a lot of places. But I can't imagine that there's a heroin addict who goes, I'm going to shoot up. Oh, wait, it's illegal. I don't want to get in trouble. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna. Like, that's not how it works. Like, you're adding insult to injury. This person, they're already in a very difficult position. I don't think making it illegal is going to do much except create an underground economy. Same kind of thing. I think that infidelity, there should be sufficient incentives in a relationship to not cheat. And there are already, by definition, so many consequences for cheating that adding to that an economic penalty, I don't know that a person's going to be about to cheat and then go, this could cost me like 20 more grand. No, I'm not going to do it.
Are you seeing more and more people getting those prenups?
Yeah, prenups are, I have to tell you, there's a generational shift happening. I see a lot of people in their, I've been doing this job for 25 years. And I will tell you, the people currently in their 20s and early 30s, like the prime demographic for marriage, mid-20s to mid-30s, are getting prenups at a rate that I would say is probably 5x what it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, certainly 25 years ago from when I started. I think there's a more pragmatic view of relationships. I think that there's a lot more open discussion. I mean, although there is a tremendous increase in the amount of like performative, look how happy we are. Meanwhile, it's like, white teeth and rotting gums. Like we're doing the performative social media. Look at how great, #blessed. And meanwhile, our life is our relationship is rotting from the inside. And we see a lot of that. Like I have to tell you something. I see people in my office who publicly are having the greatest relationships ever. Like if you believe their social media, they are so madly in love. And it shocks me because I think about all the people that are dissatisfied in their perfectly acceptable relationship because it's not as amazing as that relationship. And meanwhile, that relationship is nowhere near that amazing as they'd have you believe it. And we've got the audacity now as a culture that people without any apology, do we're perfectly happy, these hateful rumors that we're unhappy or terrible. And then we've decided to amicably part ways. We ask you to respect our privacy during this difficult time. And you're like, okay, but wait a minute. Like a month ago when there was rumors that the two of you were splitting up, you yelled at all of us for saying it's so mean that we're speculating. And now you're like, yes, we've split up. So we were right. So you were making us feel awful about ourselves and how madly in love you were with each other. But now, we were basing our lives, like we're basing our level of satisfaction on watching your greatest hits while we live our gag reel.
Do you think there's something in the idea that those that endeavor to convince the world that they're happy in their relationships are often not as happy?
100%. I'll actually extrapolate that further. My father's a Southerner, so he has a lot of Southern folksy things he says, and one of them was, empty barrels make the most noise. And he used to say that to me when I was a kid all the time. Whenever somebody had something fancy that they owned, because I grew up without a lot of money, and someone would drive a beautiful car, and I'd say, wow, that car's so cool. And he'd say, empty barrels make the most noise. That the people that have true joy in their relationship really don't feel like they have to advertise it. People who have I represent some of the wealthiest people in the world. Like, New York is the epicenter of commerce and finance for the United States, and to some degree for the world. In the UAE, you're more likely to find a gold-plated Ferrari, but in New York, like finance, Wall Street, like it is the home of it. So I have a client who's worth $8 billion. You would walk past him on the street, you would never know he has very much money at all. He drives a Jeep Grand Cherokee, which is like a very mid-range car. He wears totally nondescript clothing. Like, he just looks like a typical middle-aged dude. And you would not look at him and go, he gets his hair cut at Supercuts for $25. Like, he's not posh in the things that he owns and does. And he could buy, his income annually is like the gross domestic product of a few countries. And, he's not, and yet I have clients who appear to be incredibly wealthy. And as a divorce lawyer, I get to see the absolutely unfiltered version of people's finances. And I can tell you, they are deeply in debt, many of them. This is particularly true of celebrities. Celebrities have to live these big performative lives, because if they don't, drive a posh car and they don't wear the latest designer labels, there's this sense of, are they not doing well? And especially with sort of influencer culture, there's just so much everything everyone's wearing and doing has to be the best of the best and the most expensive. I find very often the more people have to flaunt their wealth, the less wealth they probably have. Money talks, like wealth whispers, and it's very comfortable just whispering. It doesn't feel like it has to prove to the world. In fact, it would rather that everyone not know who it was. There was a time where fame was an unfortunate side effect of talent. So you were really good at something. So then everybody heard about who you were, and all of a sudden everybody knew who you were. And that was unfortunate, because you couldn't go out to eat anymore. You couldn't just live your life anymore. Now, of course, there were times where it probably felt really nice. It feels good. Listen, I walk down the street in New York City sometimes. Guys said to me, hey man, love your stuff. Thanks, that's great. Feels nice, definitely nice. There's times where it doesn't. There's times where I'm on my phone. I'm in the middle of talking to a client and somebody's standing there next to me waiting to talk to me, and I know they're waiting to say something so lovely. But there's a part of me that's like, okay, man, I gotta do what I'm doing right now. I'm doing the thing, And now being famous is the goal for so many people. So I think there is definitely, when people say, look at how happy we are, look at how happy we are, look at how happy we are. It's like, please tell me how happy we are, because if you don't tell me how happy we are, I'm going to have to look at this relationship and I'm going to see how unhappy we are. When someone wants to be famous, it's like, tell me I have value. Please tell me I have value. Oh God, please tell me I have value. Because the reason I was never really interested in being famous is that the praise of strangers never really felt that important to me. Like, if the people in my life think I have something interesting to say and care about me and like me, that's really meaningful to me. And I'm touched for anyone who's ever appreciated my work or enjoyed it. But I never said I really want to get out there and, have people know who I am and tell me I'm smart, because I know I'm smart. It's okay. My beliefs don't require you to believe them. And so I think this performative culture when it comes to relationships is an unfortunate thing, because again, we're comparing ourselves. We can't help as a species but compare ourselves to the things we see around us.